The crypto world never stops moving, and every now and then we see events that could either mark the beginning of a massive turnaround or the beginning of a deeper decline. Recently, OKX, one of the biggest and most respected global exchanges, launched a brand new Pi/USDC trading pair. At first glance, this might look like a reason to celebrate for Pi holders. Many people rush to interpret this as a sign of strength or a potential lifeline for the project. But the truth is more complex. While headlines look positive, the deeper numbers surrounding Pi Network tell a very different story, one that suggests we might be witnessing one of two extremes, either Pi's greatest comeback opportunity or the early signs of its final collapse. To really understand what's going on, we have to look at the data, the market reaction, and the broader sentiment. And once you see how all these pieces connect, you'll understand why this new trading pair could actually speed up Pi's decline rather than saving it. Over the past months, Pi Network has taken a huge hit in terms of trading activity. Trading volume has crashed dramatically, falling from a staggering $18 billion all the way down to just $2.6 billion. That's an 85% drop, and a collapse of that magnitude doesn't happen by accident. Numbers like this aren't simply the result of normal crypto volatility. They reflect something much deeper, a serious lack of fresh demand and weakening trust among holders. At the same time, exchange reserves of Pi coins have been climbing. Roughly 49 million Pi are now sitting on exchanges, which is often a red flag. When holders transfer large amounts of tokens from wallets to exchanges, it usually signals one thing: people are preparing to sell. And as more coins are available on the open market without enough buyers to absorb them, downward price pressure becomes inevitable. Now, Pi's current market stats paint an even clearer picture of where things stand. The token is trading at just over 36 cents, with almost 7.9 billion coins already in circulation out of its eventual maximum supply of 100 billion. Earlier this year, Pi experienced a sharp crash, falling nearly 88% from its all-time high of $2.98. While it has bounced slightly from recent lows, the overall trend remains bearish. What's most concerning isn't the price swings themselves. Volatility is common in crypto, but the lack of sustained buying pressure at these lower levels. Normally, cheap prices attract opportunistic buyers. But in Pi's case, that energy just isn't there in the same way it used to be. Part of this weakness can be traced to the Pi Hackathon 2025, which was hyped as a key event to bring developers, new projects, and excitement back to the community. Instead, it turned out to be a major disappointment. Rather than sparking optimism, it left many in the community questioning the direction of the project entirely. I personally followed several of the hackathon presentations. And the lack of innovation and real-world application was impossible to ignore. This was supposed to be Pi's big chance to showcase its potential, but instead it left people with doubts about whether there's enough substance to justify the hype. And those doubts have shown up in the data. Social dominance, which measures how much a project is talked about online, has sunk to weekly lows. When people stop talking about a project, when the buzz disappears, that's often a much bigger warning sign than a simple price drop. Sentiment is a critical driver in the crypto market. Once enthusiasm fades, it becomes incredibly difficult to attract new buyers, even if the fundamentals improve. So, how does the new Pi/USDC pair on OKX fit into this picture? On the surface, it looks like a positive development. Pairing Pi with USDC, a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, creates more direct liquidity and makes it easier for traders to move in and out of positions without going through volatile crypto pairs. For traders, this sounds like progress. But here's the key question almost nobody is asking: without new demand entering the market, could this USDC pairing actually serve as an exit ramp? In other words, does this make it easier for frustrated holders to cash out? If that's the case, what looks like good news on paper could actually accelerate the sell-off. I've seen similar scenarios play out before with other tokens. Exchanges will list new pairs during moments of weakness, and instead of attracting buyers, it simply gives existing holders a more convenient way to leave. If Pi's fundamentals don't improve, the same risk applies here. That's why it's so important not to blindly assume every listing or trading pair is automatically bullish. Still, there's another perspective worth considering. Exchanges like OKX don't usually add new trading pairs for projects they consider completely dead. They take listing decisions seriously, and they see things that most retail traders don't. OKX continues to handle more than a third of Pi's global trading volume. That level of commitment suggests they believe Pi still has untapped potential, even if current sentiment is weak. In some cases, the best opportunities arise precisely when everyone else has given up hope. This is where every Pi holder faces a difficult decision. Do you let fear dictate your next move, or do you step back and look at the bigger picture? Fear is natural in a volatile market, but it often blinds us to what's really happening beneath the surface. When you zoom out, Pi still has an enormous global community, ongoing interest from major exchanges, and the foundations of an ecosystem that could mature over time. Many projects never even reach this stage. That doesn't mean everything is guaranteed, of course. The next few weeks will be critical. Pi could stage a turnaround if it finds a way to rebuild excitement and demonstrate meaningful real-world progress. Or, the decline could continue if sentiment stays negative and selling pressure intensifies. There's not much middle ground left. The decisions holders make now, whether to hold, sell, or even buy during weakness, could define their outcomes for years to come. History in crypto shows that the biggest gains often come right after moments of maximum doubt. But history also shows that ignoring red flags can lead to devastating losses. That's why it's so important to weigh both sides carefully. If this breakdown has given you new perspective on what's happening with Pi Network, make sure to support the channel by hitting the like button and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback doesn't just help the channel grow, it helps me understand what insights you need most. And if you want to stay ahead of these fast-moving developments, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates. For daily discussions and insights that I can't always cover in a single video, check out the Telegram and Facebook links in the description. I share exclusive thoughts there and keep the community updated in real time. At the end of the day, Pi Network's story isn't finished. The next chapter will be written by how the community, the developers, and the exchanges respond in this critical moment. Whether you believe in its comeback or fear its collapse, one thing is certain, the decisions being made right now will echo far into Pi's future. Until next time, stay informed, stay patient, and remember, in crypto, conviction during uncertainty often separates the spectators from the true builders.